Now, this is the biggest question. How exactly do you create a passive income without you quitting your job? Such that when now you want to quit your job, you already have an established income that you have what we call a soft landing. Okay, let me just explain it in a simple way. Let's say this is you actually employed somewhere, and they know what they say, over 80% of people, they don't love where they work, so they literally hate their job. That's why I usually feel that thing when you wake up in the morning to go and work. Okay, probably watching this video from the work and you really don't love that job. So the point is, now, how do you create a passive income at the sideline and then nurture that passive income, bring it to a point whereby, you know what, it is equivalent to that amount of money that you make each and every month. For example, say you earn 40,000, and then therefore you create a thing that's going to give you 40,000. So if a thing comes either by your will or not by your will, you quit this job or you get out of this job. Therefore, you have what you call the soft landing. It's not like a hard landing, okay? Because most of the people tend to be like, you know, I hate this job, I don't want to have this job, I just want to quit and go do the things that I love. So therefore, fine. So you quit the job that you hate, go and start a business that you do not understand. And guess what happens? This goes rough, and then you tend to go back. And there is nothing worse like going back to your job that you had quitted before and showed all your colleagues that you're so smart and what have you. And obviously, you know what? Most of your colleagues, actually, if you ask them, if I want to quit the job so that you can start the business, do you know what they tell you? No, you shouldn't do that. And guess what they do once you do quit? They usually try as much as they can. They usually pray that you fail so that they can justify what they told you. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, go ahead and subscribe to this channel because I upload a video each and every time. Make sure that you like the video and go ahead and shoot me a comment on the comment section, all right? And if you'd like to have a conversation with me, my number is always on the description of this specific video. So now, how exactly do you create a passive income without you leaving your job? This is what you do. See, first of all, there's some factors that you have to consider. Number one, you have to consider how much do you have in terms of what we call the disposal income. How much is your disposal income? Disposal income is that money that you actually leave behind after you doing. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend this, but this is basically what majority of you or us were brought up with mentality. See, is how much is it left after you've catered for the sustainabilities, after you've paid your bills like the water, electricity, transport, school fees, debts, and what have you. How much is it left in terms of what we call the disposable income? All right, because there are two ways of how you can create a passive income. It's either you use the skills that you have, trade the energy and the skills. That way, probably you may need zero amount of money. But if you then you go ahead and use the other option, that is to use the money to create another source of income. Let's start with one. How? How do you create then a passive income without you having the money to start with? Listen, then you ask yourself, who is you? What do you do? Is that what you do? Can something you can offer at an extra time and be able to make some cash out of it? Let's say maybe you are a doctor, a qualified doctor, you employed somewhere. So how about you start a social media channel whereby you talk about things to do with health, and then you can open a door for the consultations. People can call you actually and consult about 1, 2, 3 things. Probably you have your clinic where you can invite them and do offer those services at your free time when you're off the job. You can do that. Let's say you're a teacher. How exactly do you offer your services? You can offer online services whereby you can sell your courses and tell people this is what I do, what and what have you. You can be able, I know when I talk about social media, you feel like, I'm telling you, if whatever you do, you're not on a social media, you're losing it. This is 2024. If you let the technology leave you behind, you're losing it. Let's say again, maybe say you are a quantity surveyor, you are in construction, you are in, let people know what you do. Therefore, you can share that idea. And obviously, when you actually show quite enough value, then you can actually offer those services later and you can make some cash out of it. So now, how then, say you are an introvert, you don't want to talk to people in terms of social media and what have you, then you can use your money and let the money work for you. How? You can go ahead and use that cash that you have. Again, I said consider the factor of disposable income. How much do you have it? All right. Therefore, once you understand, hey, I have an first of all, do you even have the disposable income? Yes, I do. How much is it? Say your disposable income each and every month is 10,000. Then you ask yourself, okay, fine. Then what can I do with that 10,000 each and every month and channel it somewhere that can make me something? So if I push this money, say, into something like circles, if I put this money in something like stocks, you know, I'm looking at it from point in after 1 year, I'll be earning some dividends. I'll be having what we call the capital gains. And then you put this money into a money market fund, into a balance fund, into an equity fund, into a bond fund. You put that cash there, it's giving you some bath. But don't forget, Investments give you low income or low returns because they have what you call the low risk. Someone else may be like, I don't love those kind of investments that Joseph you talk about. I love literally businesses, because obviously businesses, yeah, you are risking your cash, but you're gonna make more compared maybe getting into a what? An investment. But if you choose to go to a business, now there is another factor that you have to compare or consider apart from the disposable income. It's your what we call the time, the availability of you. How many hours are you employed? Let's say, for example, you're employed from 8 to 5. So you're actually having before the 8 a.m. and after the 5 p.m. So those are the only time that you can physically monitor your business. Is it an early business, or is it a late evening business, or is it a midday business? Because we have three types of business. We have an early business, probably if you're dealing with things like snacks and maybe say breakfast kind of related things like milk, maybe eggs or something of sort. That is more of a breakfast or early morning kind of a business. Is it a business that you can be able to run within an hour or two? Probably you can wake up at 5, go open that shop somewhere, sell that milk. Obviously, when you're ready, just when the exact, maybe say you leave your home at say 7 or whatever, you can be able to leave the job and have done what we call a substantive selling. That is an early business. We have a midday business. A midday business when you deal with a range of products that can either be bought from morning to evening, whatever the thing it is. So in between, maybe you have a restaurant somewhere that you actually prepare lunch for people. That is a what? That's a midday business. And then we have the evening business. Again, this is when you deal with things that people grab as they go back home. Maybe they want to buy something for their kids, they want to buy something. Again, breakfast can be bought at the evening and what have you. So you have to understand the kind of an engagement that you're getting yourself into. So for example, if you want to get yourself into an early thing or an early business, therefore you have to look at your availability of time. So if you say, hey, I can be able to be available at 1 or 2 hours in the morning, then I can do substantive sellings, then I can leave somebody whom I'm employing to that particular business and I go do my other things. And then I've laid down the strategies and the systems to make sure that the business is actually operating. I may not eradicate all the integrity issues like maybe somebody has stolen 1, 2, 3, but the thing is, I have brought that to levels whereby even if it happens, it cannot deter my business growth. Because, I mean, after all, you're dealing with human beings, so they're actually smart as you are. So the thing, what we do is not to eradicate those kind of traces. What we do is to bring them to the levels of whereby, even if they do it, probably they cannot do it extensively to larger quantities or large amount. And again, you can be able to go ahead and monitor the service. For example, can you imagine this? KFC, it's a business that is headquartered in Kentucky, if I'm not wrong. Kentucky is in the US, and then KFC is all over the world. Can you just imagine this if Kentucky didn't have a system? Because Kentucky knows exactly what has happened in Kenya in a remote place. If they have a branch there, they know how much has come in terms of the sales. So you create that system that can operate in your absentia and can actually make you some, and then you can consolidate all the performance of that. But anyway, this takes time. It's not a thing that you can actually be able to have it right when you're starting up. Okay, now the question is this: you have to consider the time. The other thing that you consider when you're starting this business or this passive income is what are your targets. You have to operate on targets. Okay, and these targets, obviously you have to define the time period or the time stamps. What do I mean by this? You look at it and be like, okay, fine, I'm starting this business because I'm looking forward into having, say, 10,000 at the end of the month. So if I have 10,000 extra at the end of the month and I'm saving myself 10, therefore it means, well, as the time goes by, maybe say year 1, year 2, year 3, probably this business will actually elevate to levels of making 20, 30, 40, maybe brings to a level to how much I actually earn. It's always good to make sure, and I always tell people, the primary target that you should have from a business is to earn amount of money that is equivalent to that what you earn each and every month. Just in case a BS happens, you can have that what we call a soft landing. Did I make that correctly? Absolutely. So it is good to make sure that you understand, I'm going to run this business to bring it to a level where it is making a money that is equivalent to that. So therefore, you ask yourself, these targets, because obviously it depends on how much you have. For example, let's say you have a 50,000 savings in your account, and this is the money that you want to use to start a business. And you can hear somebody telling you, I want to use this 50,000, Joseph, and this 50,000, I'm looking forward into it making me 100K at the end of the month in terms of the returns. I'm not saying it is not possible, but obviously this is what obviously this is not the kind of target that we usually have. It's an illogical one. You're gonna actually have a very bad emotion day, because I mean, seriously, I mean, I'm not saying it is possible. Again, with time it can, but for now you really need to have a a logical target. So you're starting a business worth like 50,000. How about maybe you even aim to get only 500 a day from this business? If you aim to get 500, sometimes even 400, let's say even start to get 400 extra cash. You ain't doing nothing about it, but there is 400 coming in. This 400, you multiply that by 30, you have yourself clean 12,000 at the end of the month. May not be exactly what you need as 100,000, but work on the system of this business. Improve on your customer service, improve on the quantity, improve on how the quality of the product that you're selling, and all those kind of things, okay? Then try to push this business up. And I would say this money that you're getting is not high time to celebrate it. Pump it back to the business, grow the business. If actually it shows you some signs of it growing, so you pump that cash. And again, the other thing that you really need to consider when you want to start a business, then you have to consider whom you are employing, the personnel. Okay, you don't need to employ somebody who is out there and doing some funny thing, somebody there who doesn't have integrity issues and what have you. So you really need to get an individual who knows what they are doing. And I always tell people, let's say maybe some of you guys will go into partnership with people, and you'll be like, you know what, Joseph, you have an X amount of money, I have a Y amount of money, so let's bring together that X, Y amount, start a Z business, and this business will be doing this and this and this. The qualification of you partnering with somebody is not just money. Bring somebody who has money, yes, but they have an experience of something. There is an expertise that they bring on board. For example, if you bring on board somebody who is good at production, I know how to produce a tissue paper, and we want to start this business or this enterprise, say with 10 million. I have somebody who will bring on board 5 million. I bring my 5 million on board. I know how to produce. Also, I need somebody who knows how to market and sell, because those are two different things that we need. Why? I bring my expertise on how to realize a tissue, and you come on board and bring this expertise on how to sell the thing, because we need to sell that what we produce. You get what I'm saying? So go beyond considering the money that they have. And if you guys, both of you, you only have money, don't have the skills, then you can bring the expertise on board. You can bring people who are good at it, the technical skills and what have you. Then you can create a board of directors. That is exactly how it goes. Because don't be like, okay, fine, Joseph, I don't have the skills of what I want to start, but I just have the money. Then you can have the money, bring them on board. Then you can actually employ people who are good at that particular thing, and then you can push it out there. So the thing is, consider the disposable income, consider the time that you have for your business. If you want to go the business way, if you want to go the investments way, time is out of consideration, is another thing that you have to consider. And of course, when you go the investments way, just know you have to leverage on time, or you have to leverage on what? The amount, because you're going to get low interests return. So therefore you have to pump in huge chunk of cash for you to realize that amount of money that you need. So the other thing you need to actually target, or rather consider, is your targets. What are your goals? How much do you need by when? And what are your ultimate goals that you need? And then the other thing I always tell people, if you want to go the business way, have an exit plan. You must have an exit plan. You can have a business that actually you are the only reason why that business stands, and that is the worst thing that you can ever do. It's always good to have a business that, you know what, it can operate in your absentia, and you maybe say listing that business, or maybe selling some equity of that business. That is one way of exiting it, because you're bringing in the fresh blood, so that the fresh food, so that of it, so that they can be able to push the business. Leave yourself with a little percentage, and you can actually shoulder all those packages to them, so that at least they can run the business. Well, I'm going to talk about this. It's a bit complicated of a system, but I'm going to explain to you what I exactly mean. It's like starting a business, but wrap it in an investment media. That's what we say now. You're no longer a business individual, but you are an entrepreneur. The last one, consider a person whom you employ, so that at least you can be able to know who they are, how they're the integrity, and what exactly are you going to start to gain if you bring them on board to your business. Guess what? That marks the end of my video, but not the end of me making videos each and every day. The only thing that you need to do, so you don't miss any, go ahead and subscribe and turn that notification bell. For now, so goodbye. See you at the next one.